Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Love Not Fear podcast. Today's topic is uncertainty versus direction. What comes to mind, Eduard?
First, intention. I think.
Hmm.
What is my intention? Intention helps me clarify my purpose, my motivation, and this motivation drives action. And yeah, by asking myself, what is my intention? Then I can check if my behavior is aligned with the desired outcome.
Hmm.
Hmm?
Actually, my coach just gave me a framework for intention setting. I think it's really powerful to do this in the beginning when you start a new task, start new projects, come together in a meeting. So ask yourself, like, what do I want? What do I expect to happen if it happens the best way possible? How long do I want to take? What's the best possible outcome? What needs to be true for this outcome to happen? How do I feel knowing you put in the effort to accomplish the intention better, faster than anticipated? And then I guess command this a little hippie, but I think it makes sense. Command your subconscious mind with a statement like, subconscious mind, I command you to give me the brevity, courage, confidence, insights, inspiration, and
Yeah.
intuitions. What do whatever it takes to fulfill this intention effectively. So maybe it's a little long, but I guess if you can boil it down and you do something new, like what do I want? What do I expect to happen if this goes the best way possible? Or defining, like, I think we talked about this before, best, better,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
framework.
So I heavily rely on online tools to jot down any ideas and plans. So I have many wild ideas and wild plans, ill-defined. And by doing that, by putting them in a system, I know I can go back at any time. It gives me peace of mind. And it's also a place where it can simmer a little. And if I'm really drawn to it over and over again and it still sounds like a good idea,
That
that's when
is something.
the throttle goes on and I start to execute. But having a system to write it down and not keeping it some mental space where it nags on you is very liberating. Yeah, I met David Allen once. What was his famous
Getting
book
things
again?
done, guy.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Getting Things Done, and he was so inspirational about the mind is not for remembering. It's just for having ideas and store them somewhere else. So and I was
Yeah, it's
asking
like
because the guy lives in Amsterdam. Said, "What do you do next?" And he said, "I literally don't know. I have to check my my calendar." So he really eats his own dog food. The guy had no idea where he's going to be next. So yeah, pretty inspiring. So yeah, what is my plan if I try to think of my next steps? I think anybody is looking for strategies and methods to achieve goals, right?
mhm.
And it's good to taste other people's tools and see how that work. Maybe you come back to your own, but I'm a sucker for new tools that could
Same here.
probably, and I think it's very healthy. I change them all the time. I go back. I have like 3 or 4 tools I use regularly, and I love just when in my head something has become a mess in one, and
Yes, yes, yes.
I go
Same.
back to
Like
the other
fresh
one,
start.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So it's I used to beat myself up for that. Come on, stick to one system and clean it up, and now I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, very similar for me actually.
Yeah.
I now I'm kind of doing it all in UpCoach, and I'm kind of sticking to UpCoach because now if I want to change something, I can have the developer change something, so the
Yeah.
system changes. But I went from doing it on paper, doing it in a bullet journal, doing it in the task system, and then like then trying out the latest from Basecamp to like all the other tools that are out there, and then I always kind of come back to like, oh, let's do it on paper and blah, so
This-
hey.
the one thing that's always nagging me is they don't seem to have a good way to add what you're in control of. So,
Hmm.
some of the steps
Actually,
in my plans.
when I plan my week, I always kind of figure out like what are the things, maximum 3 things that I want to get done professionally, 3 things maximum personal, and 3 things maximum for family. So I only put things in that matter, and I only put them in a sense that I'm in control of it. For example, if I want to be on a podcast, I plan, do the preparation for the podcast. But if the guy doesn't show up, then I still did my thing. So
Yeah.
I do not put these things into other people's hands, if this makes sense. So because I want to be in control of like actually delivering the thing that I set out to do.
Yeah.
This, yeah.
Now, control is a crazy thing. It helps you focus on what you can influence and what you can let go of, and what you cannot. Yeah, by having that clear. But what I was aiming at is, for some steps you need something to happen or somebody to respond.
Mm.
And all the tools that I've used, this is the where it goes wrong. Anything that I can control, and preferably if a day would have 100 hours in which 76 would be private, that would be ideal. But yeah, that's where the systems go wrong.
I mean, I think you can tag like if you have, you mean like if you have delegated something to kind of wait for it to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like you can, for example, snooze emails in Gmail that they come back, after you send it, and then like it comes back to see if they did it or not. Or I have like also I used to have a delegation section, like things that I've delegated and with due dates and stuff like this. So I guess you
Yeah. Yeah.
can craft
Well,
it.
they are not very convincing, but we're going on a micro level. I don't think this
Yeah, it's true.
podcast is for people that want tools. So let's go one step up the ladder again and talk about the direction. And yeah, when what are the moments that you feel discouraged about when uncertainty gets the best of you? So when do you stop pursuing something you want, or get out of touch with it?
If I constantly get out of the flow, right?
Okay.
And if it's not flowing, if it's not working, and I also found that if I just hit my head against the wall on something, and if it's just not flowing, maybe
Mhm.
it's not meant to be right now. Often,
Yeah.
like when I didn't kind of like force it,
Yeah.
I don't get the best results. So I like to be like in the flow of things. The hippie that I am. If things flow, they're meant to be, and then it just
Yeah.
like works and happens.
It's
Versus like squeezing a square peg in a round hole.
You probably recognize it when if you have eaten that frog, that thing that you needed to do, and when it's over, you said, "Okay, wow, did I spend so much mental energy on this topic?" But it's also a task can take me 5 minutes if I'm in the right energy, and could take me hours and hours if done on the wrong place. So learning of getting to know your own energy flows and when to do what. Um, is hugely beneficial for me. The hardest lesson I had to learn is when in flow to still take breaks and
Hmm.
pause.
Have you
So
tried the Pomodoro technique?
yeah. I even worked it in my company runs on my own software, and I even integrated it.
Hmm.
So it's definitely is one of my favorites, and I do believe that it's better to stop your flow, to work on a certain level of energy and mental state of mind for a longer period of time by taking small breaks than to
Breaks.
give it all and then break down and then be
Hmm.
nothing. So yeah, big fan of Pomodoro. For people that don't know, look it up. But Pomodoro basically tells you to break down your hours by 25-minute intervals, then take small breaks, and after four sessions or 5 sessions, whatever technique you like, take a longer break. So by breaking up in smaller sections, you get better hold of your day. And yeah,
And
uh,
also, I think another key thing is that people often put like a giant task,
mm,
and if you break down this giant task into smaller bite-sized chunks, then you also get momentum, feel the progress, versus like, oh, this giant thing that I still have to do.
yeah,
Versus if you, I think momentum is also a really important thing if you want to get something done. And Pomodoro also helps tremendously if you, even if you don't feel like doing it, if you just like, okay, I'm just gonna work on it for these 25 minutes, for the 25 minutes, it's maybe an easier thing to get going.
It could take the edge of getting of starting it, indeed. And another thing that helps, that I don't know where I've picked it up, but to use the past tense.
Hmm.
So it
I think you
it's
mentioned this before on the podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, somehow, but not really on a micro level for tasks. But yeah, it works on in meeting notes as well. It creates more commitment to that, and it's building maybe bridges in your head how to reach that. Have called so many clients. Have cleared my yeah. Yeah.
I'm working on an app for App Coach, which is a time capsule app, and the idea is that you record a video for your future self. In 90 days
Mm.
from now,
Yeah.
now that I feel so happy and grateful because I rocked out this and this and this and this and this and this and this in
Yeah.
these 90 days, and it's cool for intention setting. It's cool for kind of seeing that after 90 days if you really accomplished all the things that you set out to do,
Yeah.
and yeah. So my coach actually does it on a daily basis. In the morning, he always records a time capsule for the end of the day.
Mm.
And things kind of the same thing that
Wow.
you're talking
That's
about.
there's some very easy tools to do that. It's not a big hassle anymore, and it could actually maybe teach you to be more kind to yourself. Once you have done this a couple of times, I could potentially see that it takes away some stress.
Hmm.
Because the first ones will be like, okay, today I'm going to change the world, and I will have painted this room in a different color, and I had a long conversation with my friend who I haven't seen in a year. That's not going to work. But in time, you'll probably learn better how to first dose what you need to do, and be more in touch with what you want to do, and potentially be kinder and see the progress that you are making.
So something that helps me tremendously when I pick the three things I want to work on this week, or that are important for personal self and family, then I add them to my calendar, because then it becomes realistic that I actually do this. Otherwise, I put all this task list in, and then I already have like all this other stuff going on, or maybe I'm traveling, etc. And then I beat myself up because I didn't do it. But
Yeah,
if I kind of like, and Sundays, I usually sit down and I plan my week and I pick these things that I want to do, and then I see where do they fit into my
yeah,
weekly calendar. And then you have like way more realistic
yeah,
expectations, but also they're scheduled so nothing else overrides the important. The urgent will not override the important because they're already in there.
yeah. Yeah, we could do a whole episode
On that, or five
on Eisenhower matrix and stuff
matrix,
like that.
etc.
But let's talk a little bit about the anxiety that lack of progress makes. For me, it works when I look at my core values and see have I been aligning to this? Am I still focusing on the big picture? That often takes away some of the stress. Because stress is focusing on small steps that you would have like made, but yeah. So the idea of a 90-day interval, that's interesting. That's also the same interval that you and I meet in person. And I always use these terms to set my intentions and to yeah,
Mhm.
afterwards draw up a plan for the next 90 days. So
Yes,
my
and
my
actually,
my actions are
well,
realigned.
how about when we meet in Riga, we record a time capsule of the plan that we have made for until the next time, right?
Hmm,
And
I
then
like
we
the
watch
idea.
it next time we get together. We're gonna watch it beforehand and then record the new one for the next. I think it's a
Cool.
super cool exercise.
Okay. So what is
The takeaway
the takeaway task? What
could
resonated?
be a bunch of things, uh, like testing out some of the tools like Pomodoro, etc. But what is most broad applicable thing? I guess maybe plan your week. Sit down on Sundays or whenever it's convenient
Hmm.
for you, and plan the things that you want to get done that really matter, that move the needle forward, and schedule them in your calendar and see if you get them done.
Okay, that's it. So
Awesome.
yeah, first, one last reminder: go to the website if you haven't registered already, and see what's new out there. And if you have any ideas for the podcast, please let us know.
See you in the forum, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Okay, bye.